Hello, Lolo. How are you? I hope you're doing well. If you're watching on YouTube and catch us live at twitch.tv/TalkSmile2. And if you are watching on YouTube and you like what you see, maybe leave a like, maybe leave a comment, maybe even a little subscribe. And if you'd like to see, feel free to leave a dislike and tell me why. Either way, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and let's get into this. I'm very alone. Or maybe I'm not. Who knows? Alright, I'm thinking I want more... Where was it? I know what I kind of think I want. We'll see. Just in the background. Alright. 2. Yeah, we have the preview. I figured out how to download it and everything, and let's just say, don't ever use the online tutorials. They are useless unless you have Game Pass. Alright, so I don't care about the UI. I just realized. One quick second. I'm sorry, I have to. I don't like the other one. Just feels slightly better. I don't want the new UI. We're just gonna create a creative world. Hello gives you the new UI anyway, right? No duh. Alright, so I want to turn off fire spreads. What would I need? I don't care about anything like that. Do that. I mean, obviously, we're gonna have cheats on, because it's gonna be always say. Because we're just kind of exploring. I could do a survival world. I'm not against it, but I think it'd be a bit much. And any extra experiments? Huh. But I don't have any resource packs, so it doesn't matter. Aim assist. Okay. So in theory, this should be already having all that, but I should probably check to make sure you can hear me, actually, now that I think about it. I'm not... I know, it's been... But it's just to make sure... I don't know. Yeah. Not doing the gameplay. I if somebody were to pop on and actually speak, that'd be easier to tell. It's like, no, we're gonna go peaceful, actually, because I cannot turn... Nah, normal's fine, actually. Because I'm in creative anyway. I get seeds. Templates. Do they actually... Have they added... I don't think they would have because it's too early. No. They have not. I'm not even gonna pretend. Alright, so I think this will be fine. Just say... Great. I'm not against doing it in survival, by the way. Let me be clear. I just think, at least to start with. Duh, but this is Preview. Preview doesn't have multiplayer online. I did my research. Huh. Kill my computer. I just shut off the tutorial. I didn't even realize there was one. Alright, no wait, wrong one. Okay, I might not... You know what? We're going to adjust some things. Oh yeah, no, we want 45 chunks. Yes, it's recommending it there, but the computer may say it can do things it can't. That'll help. Beyond that, can I turn off how to play? No. Lovely. Okay. Alright. No. I don't need an instruction manual on normal. Okay, I might need to set this for much lower. Not normally, mind you, but like... I mean, this isn't normal. It's not like it's gonna be crazy low, you know? It's still... in theory, gonna work. Oh, whoops, I just realized I forgot to turn other things off. I didn't even realize, because I don't use... There you go. That'll also help. Alright, right, biome. Hello, Christo. How you doing? I wish we could just click up or go up on that, but it doesn't work on Bedrock. But it's fine. I'm glad to hear that. I know how to do this stuff, you stupid game. I need to figure out how to turn that off. Where is it? It's gotta be under, like, video, right? No. No, I'm playing in, the preview. I thought it'd be fun to do. You know? For some fun. I'd say beginning, but I don't think so. Don't care about that, don't care about that. Is it maybe something here? No. Like, I don't need the instructions. Ah, that's what we're gonna go look at. You know, I'm just gonna ignore the, Right. Hill Garden. Yeah, I know. So 2134... 403. 21034... Gonna use a picture really quickly. Unfortunately, if you played on Java, it's very different. I've never been able to get anything else to do the things I need it to do, so... We are just gonna do it like this. Yeah, thank you. I guess 104. This should work. Oh. Yeah, it was perfect. Now we let the game load. Because clearly preview is nowhere near as efficient as... So here's our Pale Garden. There's one of the new things that they added in the most recent. I still go with this doesn't look very... I mean, this is a little bit better, actually, ironically, than the Java version. Actually, no, it's not. Surprisingly, I mean, yeah, this kind of is, but... Interestingly, the grass is only like a few shades off of... Notice again. It's really difficult to find the right biome around it to be able to show. Ah, there we go. You saw the gray here. There was the grass. Oh, what I find funny... He was gonna flip out a second. Because I'm traveling. But if you look kind of at like colder biomes, and the colder the biome, the more kind of quote-unquote monochrome it gets. So the fact it's still green, and it actually is better, like there's more difference on Bedrock than there is on Java. Here's what I'm gonna say, it's not great enough. They've mitigated it a little bit better on Bedrock by having more moss. On Java, I can flip over to that at some point, so you can really see the difference. It's... Like, here they've kind of, like, hidden it a little bit better, how it's still very green. Right? Especially once you leave the actual, like, other colors. And the dirt is way too brown. But they've added more moss, and specifically this is Bedrock, so... And the trees are a little bit closer together, so it's not as easy to notice some of the problems it kind of has. Interestingly, if I was to switch it tonight, we could get out the one guy, and then you could see, or rather, we could get the freaking to show. And apparently, yeah, the logs are white. See? They're really nice looking. I think it's a shame that the biome just feels blah. Like, honestly, like, it helps here that they've added so much... Shush. Added way more moss to kind of cover up the fact that it's green still. What I was saying yesterday on the Java version is what I feel like they should do. Yeah, we'll just find it. Because it's not exactly like that. Really? Yeah. Oh, what I was saying is I almost feel like the grass should be more akin to like this color. Or have little blobs. Not this color specifically, but closer to something like this, you know? At the very least blobs of it. Kind of like they've done with the more of the moss. Yeah. And here's the thing, like, I could show you some of the stuff I threw together on the snapshot. But I could do an even better job now, I think, with the new blocks. They do have new blocks, mind you. So like they have, I think it's resin, right? Yeah. Here's a new block from the update, and apparently resin will grow on trees like that, right? But and basically, if you smack a creaking, it'll start forming resin on the tree. In other words, the best way to get resin is, like every other mob that's been added after a certain point, relentlessly torture the mob, not allowing it to die whatsoever, no matter what. And instead, like, giving it endless torture to give you items. Because that's so much better than just killing the mob, you know? I mean, here. Yeah. Well, I just think it's kind of like, if they think that the reason not to have mobs be killed is because what if kids try to replicate it in real life, right? Then isn't it worse that the you're teaching them to torture the mobs relentlessly? Okay, yeah, so the shape could be a little bit different. Hello, Thomas. How you doing? And I was saying is they should change up the tree as well. Again, I have a folial done on the other. I can come up with things here as well. Ideas, da-da-da. Honestly, I think there's a few things that I feel like they could add. To make it feel more like a garden, because this is not a garden, right? Whatsoever. That's one of my bigger issues, if I'm being honest. That was an eye blossom. Could incorporate better. Yeah, it's boss. Do I think I have a space big enough? Because honestly, unlike the... Because on the snapshot, there are lots of places that were just kind of really... kind of big. But I can come in to show an example again. Here. I'll just have it be on the edge. Blocks. And I guess it's still nature. I mean, it's fine. So, we're gonna just start from... We'll just say it goes out to here. I'll probably remove this one. So this is... let me see. Let me decide where the tree's gonna need to go to. Because I did the same thing yesterday, so it's not too big a deal. Oh, I see what there is. Right. Just gonna remove this a second. Because it's honestly the only thing in my way. I'll remove other stuff as well, but... There we go. Well, Huh? Oh, do you mean the creaking heart? I mean, they're not really pumpkins, but whatever. Alright. 2, we can come out a bit of a more ways to, like, here? There. Just to... So I am filling in this space. How big do we want this to be? This could be a bit bigger than I did. I mean, it was just one tree. It honestly doesn't have to be that much because I didn't want to... Alright. I just want it to be enough space to kind of show, again, the concept. I'm not going to play around with adding the stuff below ground necessarily, or maybe I will. Which will mean I'll have to make this much deeper, but you'll get the idea in a minute. Because obviously I don't think this is like the best way to show what I mean at this stage. Alright. And then that's 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer. I mean, it was a singular tree. And there was no fire. Alright. 2. Whatever. And we come to here. And we just gotta empty this. As I said yesterday, I feel like something, and I don't think, I mean, the little flowers kind of work, but I just don't think it's exactly gardeny. You know? I'm gonna make something that absolutely is somewhat gardening, and I feel like they could do. Again, I'm not like doing their exact design, but they already have one designed from the potato update. If you've played it, you kind of might have an idea of what I'm saying here. Although, not from the way I'm doing it, but I mean, there's a reason for this. I think you saw yesterday, Thomas, right? Alright. I'm just doing the same thing again. Alright. 2. I'm not going to disagree, it kind of does. Good job. I don't want to do this. Okay. No, I know you were here yesterday. I was saying you might have an idea as to what I'm making. Hello, Chris. Do ya? Anyway, how you doing? What am I making? The game is going okay. Thing I want. There we go. Yep, exactly. A hedge maze. I said this several times. I'm doing it again just because I'm like... There we go. It's more of a maze because I wanted to just go with something simple. Plus, I don't want to do something that they actually might do, and a labyrinth would be cooler. Alright, my exit is over here. And I have one entrance exit there. There. So, nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. I'm just gonna bring each of these up a level so that I can see where the maze is. That's part of why I'm doing it like this. Didn't really work, but I still kind of like the idea, and if it would work, I'd love it to end up happening. So I'm still gonna try it again. Alright. There we go. And I know I could do all sorts of fill commands and stuff. I just don't feel like it. Alright. And we just go up to here. Boop ba doop ba doo. It's easy. Plus, it's easier to kind of create its own unique design. Alright, so we have that like that. Chuck these in here for now. I'll be useful later. Alright, now I'm going to assume that it's going to be in here, the block I need. Yeah. So... another good spot to put one. Then I'm thinking another place to put one really quickly would be right maybe here. And I think that's a good, again, I know it doesn't really work. I'm trying to get it to work. Unless, like, it's a random amount would be the idea. Alright. Before anything else gets changed. This is the first thing to do. Because this allows me to have my way out and in. I'm designing an even better hedge maze than yesterday, because, I mean, that one was nice, but, like, I was just more focused on kind of trying to make it look more... Alright. And here. And you see, it's not hard to make it. And the thing is, I know it's not actually a maze yet. Well, that's where the next step comes in, isn't it? That's where the leaves come in to play. Alright. Basic. See, this is where I go with, like, I mean, I do feel like it's not that they're... I think that they just... They're too overthinking of them and not just, like, thinking, like... The fact they went to, oh, people are saying that they want it to be a garden? Oh, and it's obviously just flowers that would make that work. Yes, there's people who are saying that. But in general, it doesn't have to be a garden with flowers. Also, the eye blossoms are kind of not that amazing. I know there's people who are going, oh wow, they're so cool, but it's just like, they're a flower that opens up at night and... Yeah, I've seen the Twilight Forest mod. I get you saying. Sure. Bean. Hello, Snow. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Glad to hear it. I am glad to hear you're doing good. Alright. I'm designing the hedge maze again in Bedrock, because this has other things. And I'm not saying that the eye blossoms are necessarily ugly. I think they could look fine when they're open, but obviously they look a little... Glad to hear you're doing good. I'm doing okay. I know you already said that, but I'll say it again. Alright, anyway, but yeah. We got some of the other blocks in here. It would be a flower. Here's an open one. I don't think it looks bad open necessarily. Which is fine, and I get why it would be at night and all that. At the same time, it's more like... I don't know. And I know I should make that moss, but I mean, still, I mean, it's okay. But it doesn't make it's not the kind of flower that you'd really think of for like a garden. And again, I go with, if flowers really made it a garden, then the flower forest should be named the garden forest. But it's not. I'm sure they'll change that to be like, it is totally the same, even though it's not. At some point, but as I said, it's not hard to design a structure that would fit. And I really do feel like the biggest part to me that's like, well, why not design something like this? When they already have something like this. They just didn't... It's not for an official update. Like, the potato update literally has a maze. A little hedge maze. With the potato leaves. There. See, we've got the vibe here, right? Out of the things, you can't really see where you need to go. I mean, obviously I know kind of where to go. And there's a sheep in here. No. Thank you. But point being, like, you don't know where you're going or anything like that. Otherwise, lots of dead ends. Shush. I don't know how to turn that off, by the way. I've tried. I looked everywhere. It won't let me. Look, I've shifted, you stupid thing. And see, easy, simple to design. Actually, I could even just make that like grass, and then it would be a circle. But I kind of like it better like this. It's like, it looks like it'd be one, but it's not. Anyway, but yeah, it's a simple design, really easy, really basic. You could throw all sorts of things into it, add all, but it feels kind of gardening. I hear a spooter. And imagine if we could get the creaking to actually work where it pops out. And as I said, I don't think they can do it because I think it's like they don't have enough time. Right? Did I weirdly see it under natural blocks? Yes I did. But let's pretend that this vault was... they summoned the creaking. I'll show you in a second. But let's say, maybe... Oh, where was it? Ah. let's say that there's a vault here, right? Obviously, it's not able to be used, but place it down there. Right. Point being, it's something that you can even hear when you kind of get close to it, but it has to have a creaking heart go off, so you have to have it at night to get the loot, even if you find it in the maze. Anyway, here, let me show you what creaking hearts do. First off, I need to make it no longer always day. I just had it set to that to start with. Don't care. Which one is it? Alright. Alright, let's set to midnight. In theory. I thought... Oh wait, whoops, I forgot to hit click. Gotta remember you actually have to hit enter. So Creaking Hearts summon these mobs over here called the, or rather, the Creaking. Oh yeah, and then the Eye Blossoms also. I mean, this is the thing that makes Eye Blossoms cool. They do kind of glow, but I feel like they should actually glow. Not just kind of. Alright, in theory, there's a guy. Basically, yeah, that's the Creaking. And they're summoned from Creaking Hearts. But these have Creaking Hearts in them, don't they? Or no, the Creaking spawning, other than the ones that I spawned in. Effectively. Normally they'd be somewhere in the tree. Obviously there's not spawning yet, but... There's a guy. Still coming from the maze. Maybe it's just like too high. Oh no, he was just over there. You're spawning super weird. Alright, so we have this guy here, right? As I said, I mean, it's not really working right now, exactly, necessarily. But apparently the idea is that these guys, when you smack them, they create this substance called amber on the trees. Yeah, they should. I mean, it'd make them really cool if they did actually emit light. I think that would make them full on work. Point being, though, so they're supposed to, like... Oh, yeah, they are. Here they are. It's around the thing. Got it. But it's around the Creaking Heart itself, that's why. But see, the substance is amber, right? And the best way to technically utilize it would be to have the Creaking... Yeah, just keep hitting them for amber. And then you have all these amber blocks you can use. I've got a few more... let's see. This one and this one. In other words, if you want this, what you have to do is you have to mercilessly beat the Creaking. You need Silk Touch, but if you have Silk Touch, then it's fine. So, and oh yeah, you can also make them. If you have the right materials. Basically come... Smack the living, oozes out of these things. Like so. And by the way, if I was in survival, I feel like I should mention this. This guy would not be able to move. So basically, he can't move as long as I'm looking at him. And then you can just smack him as much as you want. Continue looking at him while you harvest. And then go smack him some more. Yep. Oh, is the daylight cycle still on? I just made sure it was fine. But you know what? Whatever. You're not the daylight cycle. Alright, anyway. Let's just go back to the time of day that is easiest to work in. I think the guy died. Okay. Insane. Anyway, beyond that though, yeah, just beat them and yeah. And here's the thing. So another thing you could do to kind of, what I was gonna say is now that we have the amber blocks. I mean, they're not the best blocks in the world, but you can add them if you need, like, for some unique. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it'll be fine there. But yeah, they do. Three, 4. And then this should be here, yeah. And then we can add all sorts of other things, but you can add, for example, oh, maybe there's some bricks here. They're kind of not the best, but you know what? Whatever. They look like they almost glow, so... I just can't. It looks bad. Like, I'm trying... I just can't. It's a very unique set of circumstances in which that'll look decent. Alright, let's snag some bricks and tiles to start with. As I said yesterday, I really think they could easily connect it to the ancient city. Ta-da! Again! The most basic of buildings. So basic, I did it last night. I'm doing it again today. Yeah. Stairs. And... Right. Toss that one down on the ground. And there's 1,000 ways to do it. Look at that. A house, right? Here, actually, I think I'm gonna start here this time. Change up what I did last night to make it something different. And you can do the same thing here as well, right? Also, let's make this like this instead. Did I mess up here as well? No, I just messed up on the one. Somehow. And... pull it through like that. But then you can have this like this. And this. I mean, it's a basic roof. It's a little bit of a little flair to it, you know? Just a little bit. Which, I mean, real, that's kind of what I do, right? I do as well. I think it looks quite nice to do it like that. And it definitely does help. And then obviously you would just kind of make it less nice looking, probably. Utilizing, say, like... I like that. Seriously, why does it keep trying to... And you can kind of just create different things like that. Yeah. Shush. Kinda. Yeah. So we have different blocks kind of more beat up looking, right? Not a lot that you need to do for that. And as I said, something I feel like they really could do easily, well, two somethings. You can have a little thing here. Or you can utilize these lovely is the sun setting again? I'm sure it's not, but yeah. I guess that cloud's just in a weird spot. You can have something that does that there. And then have one there. Then you can add in, as I said before, you could add in maybe a beehive or make a barrel. Like the beehive could just kind of go on things, so it's just like, yeah. I mean, it's a rare block that really doesn't need to be, unless, like, it's a block you can't find anywhere. So, like, why not give it a use like that? What I got on me? So here's what I'm gonna say. Here's where I think they could have some easy, and this is something I was saying the other day, and I'm gonna say again. Take a bundle, right? And let's say it might have some seeds and some flowers. Maybe you even have like a sapling that maybe you're less likely to be able to find. Probably not, but you know. Right? Heck, maybe it has some resin in it. Like, there. Kind of full bundle, and you could find that in the chest. Thank you, by the way, the house. I mean, the idea is basically it's a broken down shack, and if I was really wanting to, what I'd do is I'd add a little bit more to the roof as well. So we could add, like, say, here, here, kind of just add in a few holes. Yeah. Oh, I don't disagree that they need to do something like that. I definitely feel like the current look is not terribly great. Alright. But point being, so now we have some holes in the roof just to kind of sell that vibe. As I said yesterday, other things you can add to really kind of sell the whole thing is you could add a pot. Maybe it has a unique shard or whatever to it. And then if you want to add some lore, you could add the idea that maybe... And this is where I'm really like trying to do the whole thing here. You can even throw in like, to go back to the bundle there a second. To really like, or if you got some really lucky loot, right? Oops. You get some of these as well. Super fancy loot. Nothing crazy, but just something nice. It'd all be plants. I mean, I don't think they could do it here. And again, since these plants aren't regrowable, the torch flower and the other one, it's not like it like hinders the sniffer, but it adds something unique to find that's garden-esque. In a building that is effectively a garden shed. Let me see. What I was saying is... Well, I think that it needs to be dilapidated because the whole idea, I think, is that it's no longer able to be used, right? So, say a dead bush. I think a dead bush could be something that you could have that could be lore-wise here. It was obviously thriving at some point, but it's not now. And honestly, I think they should have like a different type of any. I don't necessarily think they should have these guys here. Because I think they should have a secondary type of monster you can come across. Which is a pillager that seems to be kind of like turning into a creaking. So they half obey the rules and stuff. And they come after you. You know? And then the implication could be the reason it's the Pale Garden is that it's the garden to the mansions. That it would be a mansion. If not for certain things, you know? But a way to handle the I mean, they could do a little fountain. But a great way to handle the idea that there should be, like, gardens, right? Here is you can throw some... It should be here, right? Nope. What would it be? So to gather a bit of the stuff here. Alright. Kind of like so. Again, add in the pots. Like so. Or you could even have it be that whatever the seed is, right? Moss is annoying, I'm gonna be honest. What you could do is you could say that whatever's in the pot, right? For example, let's say, let's do something really crazy. It would never be this, right? What would it be? But as an option, you could maybe have it be an enchanted golden apple, right? Just one, because it's the seed. You could have that be randomly a potential one you could come across. Just as a little something something to be like, they grow all kinds of things here that no longer grow or exist or whatever due to the trees. It's a bit of lore. It could be anything. It could be a pumpkin. It could be any one of the saplings. You could have just about anything. It could be silver. Yes, they could add a unique type of apple to this area, the silver apple. And there's no silver in the game, so it's like an actual loot item. And what it would do is make you... Oh, I know. It would be something you can use to tame a creeper. Yeah, that's what it is. To make it really weird or unique. Or something else like that, right? No, not a creeper. A ravager. And then you can have a pet ravager. But you have to use this extremely rare item that you can only find in Pale Gardens very rarely. In a pot with a dead bush. True. Honestly, the dirt should be desaturated, or a different type of dirt that's desaturated. The mobs don't really fit. Good question. Anyway, as I was saying, normally maybe it would be something like, it's a normal apple that goes into the pot. It's a luck of the draw kind of thing, you know? Maybe you get lucky. Maybe you don't. Maybe you get something you've been looking for but you haven't been able to find because your biomes are all meh due to all the different updates or something, you know? Alright, so in theory, also, something else I feel like this is missing beyond actually gray grass. So apparently this should be a thing. Let's see if we can't figure this out. I don't know. Maybe that means I'm gonna go ahead and quickly research adding fog. I kind of got it yesterday. If I can do this, though, I mean, this will help. I think this will be the biggest thing to help, you know? Alright. Push. Okay. Yeah. Craft. Let me see if I understand this. Fog. Oh. I mean, it specifically does it like... Yeah, push. In theory? No, I messed the thing up. Look somewhere. Nope, not there. Let's try this again. Okay. And we'll say at A, actually. Because I'm the only person here anyway. Let me see if I can't figure out what the IDA would be. Yeah, sure. I think I understand. Push. Fog. I wish I knew how to do this easier. Nope. Yeah. Buddy, no. Talking to Cat, by the way. Alright. Let's push. I need to figure out what the IDs are. Alright, here we go. One I want would be... just like this. I don't need the other, I think. I spelled that wrong. Probably spelled it wrong last time. Only I could actually like copy this, or I guess I kind of can. Nope, can't. And I messed it up somewhere as well. Again, woo! Okay. Oh, I see what I did wrong. Never mind. Alright. Alright, I assumed that this was 2 words, but it's not. In theory, that should do it. Probably not gonna work still, but I'm just trying to like kind of like set a... I'll figure this out. I'm going to figure this out. The heck? Is that a zombie? Oh no, it's some villager. Because I feel like this place needs it. You know? Um, Problem is trying to understand how this works, and it doesn't explain really how it works. Yeah. All right. I guess that makes make more sense. How does that make any sense? This would have singing at all? I literally went to ambient. Buddy, no. Talking to cat, by the way. Ah. Okay, I might understand. I think I might have understood. Alright, as... Wait. Yeah, you know that will work. That'll work. It doesn't want to work for me. Am I doing anything else wrong? No, I don't know what else I've done wrong. Maybe I gotta do the hashtag or the thingies around it, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense. We're gonna say at all. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Duh. What am I doing? I can't believe did that. I'm so dumb. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Although it's blues, but still. It's not a lot, and it's blue, but look at that. Doesn't that feel just kind of... And imagine if we would add a little bit more. Isn't that better? I could add another stack as well doing the same thing. By the way. And it'd be even better if it was, like, actually maybe a gray, but I think this works. I mean, look, you can't see very far into any direction, really. It really helps kind of ambiance it. And it does make it a little bit more mysterious. But I'd say they should have, like, its own fog settings. Right? So a little bit thicker, a little bit more towards the ground as well. But just kind of as you look around, things are shifting. A little different. I learned a command. Now, if only I knew how to make it gray. But, I mean, look at that visual. As it just becomes more as it goes back. Fading nicely. Like, can't be that hard. You know? No, they're not. The only one that's really a fog is this one. All the others are like deep red. You've got a deep red for the, I guess we could try mixing in a little bit of the, Alright, now that we've learned how to do this. That is... what would it be? What is it exactly? We got the crimson. Oh, I bet it wouldn't it be the warped forest? Yeah. Let's see if we can't do the same thing. Alright. Oh, whoops, I forgot the push. All fixed. Oh, they do. Alright. Oh, look at that. For a unique experience. Although it's a little bit too dark out the edges, but like just in general. Up close. And the concept of it being like that is not actually the worst thing in the world. You know? This purpley color isn't the worst for the area. It's very dark feeling, very ambiance-esque. What do you think? It's not perfect. As I said, I really wish there was one that would like wisp. Oh, I know. I know one more to add on the stack. Let me see, what was it? But it would be... try Frozen River. Or no, Cold Ocean, maybe if I have that. Deep Cold Ocean. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Alright, Alright, let's see if it works. I don't know if it's going to like add anything or not. Hopefully it does. It didn't really do a whole lot. I still like the deep darkness around it. I wish I knew how to add the fog effect for it, just like if you're underwater, like immediately. But imagine that, like, everywhere. I mean, there is a haze to it now. Also, we really want to make it really, really neat feeling. Really up close. Really in our face. Set to 12 chunks. What do you think? Too much? Heck, I could even make it even less, which is interesting. Let's do 8. Just enough that you can see, but it is definitely really close up that you can't. It starts fogging in. I would say that. I mean, it is fading in gently. The problem is there's so many trees that it's hard to tell. Like, if we were to go up to the treetops, you'd see it is actually fading in. I don't know. This isn't really a data pack now, is it? This is just, like, literally throwing together some commands to try and see if I can't understand. But see, if you look from the top, it's a lot less abrupt feeling. The only reason it feels super abrupt is because it's so close together, the trees. Honestly, the best way to do this that would absolutely be too much. Yeah, sure. Oh, I can't even go that low. Oh, there we go. We got 5. But on Java, which we can't adjust the fog, but I could add in like the number of chunks you could see. What I ended up doing there was going down to 2. Yeah. And that kind of really worked. See, I think 5 chunks is like the best bet for the garden, for how far out you could see in the thing. It adds more of a haze to the other trees, and it really does nice things. The whole thing. And then at night, right? Which is when this place should shine. Okay, look away a second. There, you're right. I mean, so you can't see the purpleness of the fog anymore. I mean, it's still there. Don't get me wrong. I think. It'll be easier to see up here. Yeah. Maybe not. Yeah, no it is. But this is the vibe you have now going through the Pale Garden at night. Yeah, they really do. That's the problem. Figuring out what settings do what is the problem. What I'd really have liked for when you're first underwater. Yeah, I knew that'd be you. But I couldn't figure out what that one would be, so... we give up. Like, if I could have figured that one out, I would have done that. Yeah, so just you. Huh? Not really. Not at the moment, because that's not really what I was doing. I was just literally trying to make it feel a little bit more of a vibe as you're walking through. Something that might actually feel like, huh, this actually could be something dangerous. And this was my best bet. It's not perfect. It's a little bit better. But I don't know how to set the other, so it's just like I said this. And it does make everything shine just that little bit more. It makes this actually look even more glowy. If you look around. And there is a little bit of haze without being a whole lot of haze. I guess I could add like an extra layer of the wort forest. Because apparently it's stacks of it, right? Let's see if we got an extra stack of it. It does, doesn't it? Alright, that should do all that. Add an even more push of it. Even more fog. No, that's the best I can do because I don't know how to set the underwater kind of thing, which I would totally do, by the way. And yeah, it makes the night feel so much darker. And the thing is, it really is also helping, is the gray. I have basically removed it and instead given this because I'm here. This should feel better during the day now as well. Now that I've an extra one. Yeah. An extra shade of that. All the more clinging. But it's the best I can do because I don't know how, like I said. The underwater. Sorry, bud. Let's see the gray sky. Interestingly, I mean, it makes it so much more interesting looking with that little bit of like yellow to it almost. Or rather not yellow, but yeah, actually it turns more yellow when you have it like that with the purple around it. Crazy, huh? But see, that's because I kind of knew what's missing. I think that because they created a decent base, it's a lot easier to go, there's certain things just kind of missing from it. Right? Things like some garden structures. They don't have to be, like, super fancy, and they don't have to have any really unique loot to them. They just kind of need to have something that makes it feel like, yes, this is a garden. And I mean, mine is not the best. I really wish I knew how to make it look more, just fog and less just, like, darkness on the horizon. Though it does really work for this biome. The idea that everything is just kind of, like, saturated, like, less saturated. Yeah, I don't disagree. The biggest thing I've said is I feel like it shouldn't have been an overworld biome. And that is something I would criticize. I really think it should have been another biome with the way that they set it up. After all, the spooky biome is meant to be the nether, right? Or at the very least, it should have been underground. I'm not with the people who think it should have been an end-up biome. I think it's fine as a nether. Nah. I don't think it would have made as much sense. There's a certain level of, even if you had like a living life, more lifeful kind of thing, I think instead it'd be something much more like dark or purple kind of thing. Shades of, because if you pay attention to the colors that are there, there's a lot more, like, yes, you have lighter colors, but it's mostly purples. Even in the Minecraft dungeons, so I don't actually think it would necessarily have fit. I mean, the fog I've created here is perfect for an end biome, but beyond that, I think the biggest reason I think the Nether would make a lot of sense is you could have this be a twisted biome. That way, the Dark Oak actually makes sense. It's a twisted version of a normal biome, kind of like the Nether making what it thinks is what you'd have, right? Potentially. Or you could have that's the biggest thing I think that it would be is make the most sense as would be the nether. Not the weirdly enough. I know it's crazy. Yeah, I'd like to see an end update, but I don't think this would fit the end. But I do think it would fit the nether. One thing I do appreciate is they have, though I will say, I don't know if they've done it here as well. If they have, then, I mean, that is something nice. Yeah. But see, they've actually, on both Bedrock and Java, which is something they very rarely do, added some color variation to the water. See? But the biggest problem is this biome feels cold. It doesn't feel spooky, it just feels cold. Because of how they handle cold biomes. Like, if you look at a taiga, its grass isn't that far off. And on Java, it's even closer than it is on Bedrock. But basically the way they show cold in this game is by kind of desaturating the grass a little bit. Maybe they make it a little bit lighter, maybe they don't, but... And the thing is, it's like, yeah, you could lean into that. Heck, the water also gives off more of a cold, but that's not what they're going for. They want it to be considered desaturized, and it's like less colorful, but it's like, then the dirt must also be less colorful. Altogether, it just fails. You could take the eye blossom, by the way. In a way that I think would look really interesting here. They aren't doing it, mind you, and I don't think they necessarily have to. But things I think that would be really interesting as well would be, let's say you took, oh yeah, perfect. Perfect. Another thing I think about this biome, if it is an overworld biome, by the way, it should always be raining. We have the desert and the mesa as the never raining, right? I feel like we should have some biomes that are always raining. Yeah. Yes, but only... Oh, there's a thunderstorm. I don't feel like having it be quite that far, but we can have it be rain. But if they had like a pale version of this, I think that could look cool. To have kind of as well. Like imagine you have some kind of just growing in the water here, but super pale. The thing is, the biggest issue isn't like that they reskinned color things. It's that they didn't add the right items to make it feel unique or just nice. Things that could make the eye blossom feel a little bit more special is you could have them, maybe they grow more around the water, which not a lot of other so like they grow out that way, right? But it's because they're growing out from the water, which they don't do with every flower, you know? That could be something you could do that could be interestingly unique, along with the fact that they already have the little bit of glowingness at night, though they don't actually give off light. Which is weird, because, you know, they could have that, because brown mushrooms give off light. Why not have these things give off light? Anyway, part of what I go off of with, like, where I think that I could see them designing-wise is the fact that they put out the pillagers apparently are scared of the creaking, right? If pillagers are afraid of the creaking, then you need to have a reason. You need to have an in-game reason. It can't just be, well, we said that out loud. A good reason would be to have a little pillager that shows up that is, freakified, if you will. Yeah. Actually, let's specifically, now that we have it raining, there's no weather cycle. It always rains here now. It rains here. We have this weird mist. The clouds are very... Doesn't this feel more horror themed than what they were going with? Or what they did? That's just vibes. And this is why I'm saying, like, this is why I wanted to show kind of what I think. And I think that it could be more desaturated, more gray, dark gray to the side there. Yeah. This is supposed to be creepy. A creepy biome. And even with everything I've done, it doesn't really make it feel creepy. So something that they could do to not only make it feel a little bit more, maybe not spooky, but like... It could work. And clearly with the way they've designed the trees, you can have it become more like the shape of the tree. Sapling. And then bring it out like here. Instead. Because that's obviously not, That's a kind of unique feeling tree, you know? Heck, you can even add, like, you could even add like that or whatever. I've got some really good examples over on Java if you wanted to see for what I think they could do with the trees. But just to add a little bit more, anything to the tree. To make it feel a little bit more, more unique, you know? And then you can throw in the leaves, like so. Without, like, just going over to the other one to... Kind of like so. And you can pull it out a little bit. It's not fancy on the side. It looks better on the other one. But one, it makes the tree feel like it's kind of coming in more onto you, right? Like at you. Just a little bit. And it just kind of gives more vibe. And makes it feel more unique. It doesn't take a lot, you know? Really create some vibes. And then you can even throw in the moss here. The weird shape for the moss, but it's... Yeah. See, that's kind of what I'm doing by adding the moss back in like this. I'm not going as elegant as I did on the other one, but... Like, imagine you came across a tree like that. And the trees were like that. And the biggest reason why I do this shape like that, by the way, is here's its sapling. Here. And I don't want to make it easier to compare. That's the tree. This is the sapling. You can see it's kind of turned. But not feel like... I do feel like they should go with the shape more. That they kind of... if they're just not feeling like they've succeeded yet, I think that they could have a little more faith in it. Oops, that's our one. Make the moss actually look... Well, I mean, one of the biggest things I'm doing here is just making it feel more... Kinda... twisted and all that, you know? I mean, look at it. Doesn't that look more like what you would expect in this place? Imagine if all the trees were like a variation of this. But again, mind you, this is just what I'm throwing together. I'm not the best builder. Terraform or whatever. I try to keep it still within Minecraft style. And something somewhat unique. And the thing is, like, then it's more like a sapling. I don't know. They might. I mean, the thing that's weird, if I was to remove all the fog effects, I think there's a cherry biome around here somewhere. Or there's one that spawned, I don't remember which way. But the thing is, so having uniquely branched out trees, they exist now. We have the mangrove and the cherry. And see, here's the thing. You don't even need to do all that to make it feel less, kind of pale garden-y, or they're like normal. Like a different tree. Yeah, I'm literally taking the tree they already have here. Alright. And I'm adding some shape to it. Didn't take a lot, and still the same basic shape. It's just a little bit less, exact. Or you can even go like that, and then you can have one there. All sorts of ways to take the tree and make it different. And as I kind of showcased yesterday, all they really have to do to make it feel different, by the way, yeah, make it an entirely different tree here. It actually also gives for a more fluffy look. And you can add these back in wherever you choose, but see, now it's a much fluffier leaf, a little bit less, it doesn't take a lot. It just takes, like, stopping and looking at. And here's the thing. I think it's because they overthink things. And they go, oh, but what if this, what if that, right? But the problem is, it's like, if you like, then do. If you don't like, then don't do. That's really all there is to it. And that should be their design philosophy. At the end of the day. And the biggest reason I say I don't think it's just because they're lazy, I mean, they're making mods for the game still, some of them. If you go and you actually look into it and all that. And it's just like, okay, if they're doing that, then that means that they're just not working on their game. Necessarily. But why? I don't know. But obviously that's part of the problem. Right? Get a little extra moss in here. But that's just it. I think they overthink everything. They go, but what if people will figure a way to make themselves overpowered with this? And it's like, it doesn't matter. You're not going to have it be overpowered in the end because other people can use it too. It's only really overpowered when nobody can use it. Ironically, by making something rarer so that it's not being overpowering, it actually becomes a much more overpowered weapon because then it's a lot harder to get. But that's the logic they go with is, oh, that's how you should... No, Minecraft at the end of the day isn't competitive, and any place that it is typically has server owners that can just implement resource packs and rather data packs and the like that will shut that down. So it's not like it's that big a deal anyway. It's weirder that they're so... But the thing is, like I said, I really and truly think they're overthinking way too much. I mean, look at this. We have moss. Moss is very lovely, and it does this very cute design. But at the same time, it's like... But what if you don't want the design? Well, too bad, so sad. So it's focused on doing those little things, and then the creaking... It has a unique mechanic, although I will acknowledge it's definitely a reskin of the original Warden. Again. Not sure how much of this isn't reskins. But I would say, I feel like if they are going to reskin things, they should do more biomes. But the biggest thing is, it's like, what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to be like, things that make the biome not feel like it already needs an update before it comes out. Rather than focusing on the kinds of things people will go, oh, it needs this or that. Because things they honestly should focus on so that it doesn't become a place not to be or use or whatever. Yeah. Oh, I don't disagree. Also the sounds. This moss makes noise, apparently. But beyond that, I think the biggest thing is just... that would really, really help are the little things that they aren't focusing on because they're overthinking the big things. They're going, oh, people are going, it's not a garden because there's no flowers, so let's add this unique type of flower that we probably already had waiting in the wings. But, you know, we still had to, like, put together everything and be like, look at this. And the thing is, it's like, this is where I go with, don't look at those people, look at more basic things. As I said, concrete powder is pretty literally just grass, if you look at it here. That's why I used it. To be like, you can have gray spots here that really kind of sell this idea that this place is as a biome. Not a place you want to be. You know? Oh, there's a witch. Hello, witch. Also, you can have where maybe you have a unique mob type. That's not just the... That's a reskin as well. Alrighty, fair enough. I mean, you've seen what I've thought of and done and designed, other than, like, the other tree. I've got some really good looking stuff on the Java world now, but... Like, I just wanted to kind of design here where I could see all the new stuff and all that. Because it hasn't been added to Java yet. But yeah, it does definitely feel a little uninspired. I mean, it's not even just the color. Ironically. Alrighty. Well, thank you. I mean, as you can see, like, I'm not, like, going, ooh, they should do this unique loot, or they should... I really and truly am going... If they want this biome to, like, last long term, they need to think about things like ambiance. Oh, thank you, the sub. Here, let me add that to the thing. Here for more exercise at this point. But yeah, I mean that's where I'm at. Is like I really don't think that they should focus on things like flowers or whatever. I think they should focus on, and really and truly, ambiance. Maybe a structure or two. Really simple structures that they already have potentially in the wings. Because again, I didn't make the one that they use on the potato update. But they have it as a design. Change the leaves that it has to generate. Voila, you have a garden structure. An easy garden structure. That nobody can deny is a garden structure. I mean... simple. And I really do feel that way. And you could add loot. I showed a way that they could do loot that could be interesting and unique, but at the same time, I don't think they need to. I really don't. I think it's far more interesting to have the maze itself just as something that's like kind of gardeny. Having a garden shed. All it really has in it maybe is, I don't have one, but like adding a hoe here as well. You could throw in wood hoe. Or a iron shovel. Or maybe even all the way up to diamond on the shovel, but the idea is really just kind of some basic loot. Maybe you find a small drip leaf. More likely you find these things. They're dead. Videos, this is your seed pouch. And I don't think these things are necessarily bad. They're not going to break the game or anything. It also gives you a nice little thing to get or have. Let's say you end up in the Pale Garden as your starting biome. If you could find a little hoe or a little shovel, it would help a little bit. Right? Make it easier to plant crops or just shovel up some dirt. It can be of any durability. It's just a nice little thing to have. And that's just it. Like, they focused on the mid-game. But they should focus on this place as more of a starting game. Like, what would you want to find if you were to find yourself spawning in this biome? That's another thing I feel like would be good. You would want some simple tools. Obviously, you're probably going to break the wood and all that, but I mean, maybe if you could find something, that would be nice. B, a place to be able to hole up for the night in case you don't have time to get away from the area, because you don't want to deal with the creaking. You can add a little door. Da 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 da. You even have a little base. Perfect. And if you want to do mid-game stuff, I mean, you can have little archaeology spots. Honestly, that's where I'm really left with. Like, I think they could make this biome into a good starting ground as well as being a spooky, scary place, right? Especially considering the only other, like, potential structures you're gonna find around you are a woodland mansion. You'll have to go a ways out. for that. I mean, it's better to have something that would work out well here. But it can't be anything too powerful. That's why I say maybe like super rare you find diamond, but more likely you would find iron, stone, wood, maybe gold. And it's like the one in the lifetime, like what I said with the pot, with the enchanted golden apple. That shouldn't be common. That should be the rare loot that you might find if you were to get super duper lucky. It doesn't have to be a golden apple. It could be like some unique type of food, and there's your unique loot. Adding something food related shows you haven't forgotten that people, you know, would like a food update along with end updates and stuff. And it gives you brownie points that you don't necessarily even deserve for that, specifically. Because it's obvious. I mean, in reality, they probably do. It's a joke. They would. But, like, give them the brownie points, you know? Of, oh, hey, a new food type. It doesn't have to be overpowered. It can do something, anything. Maybe it lets you... like... maybe the unique food type isn't for you. Is like I said, it's for, like, a pet. Or it's, like... you can tame a mob you normally wouldn't be able to tame, like a Ravager or a Creeper. You have to be able to get in close and feed it fast before you die or it dies. Not zombie or skeletons, because that feels like that'd be a little weird to have a humanoid pet, but you know, I mean, you could do other things. They have toes. You know, I mean, here's something to think about. Creepers have toe beans. Do that with you will. At least in, like, actual Minecraft. I personally think it would make more sense to have them kind of be... spikes, but they don't do that. That's the da-da-da-da, because it's technically a pig, so I guess it'd be hooves, but that's not really a hoof shape. Dun-da-da! But yeah, I think there's all kinds of things to really be able to do that. And I'm just doing the most basic things. It's like, yeah, you could do that, you don't have to. Or maybe not that you don't have to, but it's like, it would really and truly put the biome together. But they could do all kinds of things. They could do a little, like people said, like a little flower pots. A nice simple one. You could even use the orange bricks for this. Right? I thought I heard something. Let's say the orange bricks. Right as they are. There you have that, right? Actually, no, don't add grass. Because this is meant to be a garden thing, right? Add that. And you can obviously kind of add in the, oh yeah, it's obviously broken, kind of vibe to it, right? Now we add some flowers. Let's pick something that would look decent. I think the bluettes. I mean, in reality, it shouldn't be the bluettes, but And then kind of like that. So you can see some of them are still kind of growing, still holding on. But they've mostly died. See? Heck, I mean, if you really wanted to make some creepy lore. So that it's like, yeah, as the nutrients are being absorbed. See? I mean, it's super bright and ugly, but because this isn't the right suitability for this, but it works, and I would probably use normal bricks, but I was just trying to use the actual blocks. The biggest reason I'm using like any other kind of flower, this would be the only place these flowers would grow. Ish. Like literally, or no. It's not that they grow here, it's that this is part of what spawns in this structure. This is a structure. The structure is called plant bed. Right? And it's got like certain levels of just degradation. Whatever. There, see? Fancy. And it just kind of creates something here, you know? Not all the same as you look around. And I'd say like have two to three different types of flowers. Blah. And then the flowers would have a potential of somewhere between 2 to 3 flowers bloom, and anything else is 6 or nothing. Or you have just like 3 specific structures, and that's that. Or no, 6 different structures, 2 for each type of flower. Or yeah, each type of flower. So you'd have this one, and then you'd have one for slightly less beat up, more beat up, blah blah blah. What do you think? Good. Not enough. Vibeless. I don't know. It's an idea. Again, it's just kind of meant to be, though, like, garden. I honestly just feel like it's the kind of thing where it's like at least a flower box with a and they could all be dead bushes. You don't have to have any of them be alive. But depending on how like far along you want things to be, but I mean, of all the things, like imagine you come across like you could come across a pond like this. As And then you fish up tropical fish because there used to be koi in the pond. Or you can go through the maze and it's got a chance of having a chest. But you can only open it at night, even if you can hear it. You can't open it yourself. And you have to wander around to try and figure out where it is. Utilizing sound. It's like, it's here somewhere. But honestly, the bigger focuses here that I was really trying to focus on is it's like reasons to come here, reasons to stay here. Or at the very least, reasons to... That's the other thing. Reasons that you don't feel like you need to leave immediately. Currently, it's literally just you come in, like, you literally come in, snag some logs, maybe snag a, if you want the orange blocks, snags a creaking heart, voila, you never have to come back. Oh yeah, grab some moss. That is your entire experience with this biome. And you never come back because you have all the items. There's nothing else to see. Nothing else to do. Nothing else to be... Instead, what I'm really doing is I'm adding things like... Basically... Oh, I did stuff a creaking in there. It just doesn't stay in there. I've got 3 creakings that should be in there, but instead they spawn outside it. Because they are delinquents. But I've got one like here. Somewhere in here and there, I believe. There and somewhere in here. They just don't stay or they don't spawn on the right side of the maze wall, but it's in there. This entire world is designed around the idea that you have these things. Like, I feel like that's the thing. This biome... This biome, the mangrove forest, and the cherry blossom are just all kind of missing any kind of structure that would actually be a reason to go there. And stay there. Mangrove swamp could probably use some form of temple. Probably could have similar loot to any other the simple temples. I think that the cherry blossom, really, they just need more, like, they need, like a curated, almost feeling pond and stones. That would do a lot for the biome. It doesn't actually necessarily need buildings, it just needs some structure to it. Because, see, boulders count as structure sometimes in this game. Not always, but sometimes, right? And then this one just needs some gardeny structures, whether it be a garden shed, a garden maze, that's a hedge maze, or some planter boxes. Or even little, again, curated ponds that give you tropical fish, but are empty. Which implies that the tropical fish are kind of rotting in the water there, dead. And heck, I feel like beyond that, and these are things I don't think that they'd have time to do or really want to do, but like, the cherry blossom forest in this one could also use a unique mob. Cherry blossom could probably use some form of, I'd say turtle, actually. Again, go with that pond vibe. And then here, I think it needs a creaking pill, like a creaking illager. Where you've got like a piece of tree sticking out the side. And all that. And just, it'd be creepy. Have them have the orange eyes and all that. And then you have your reason for why anything would be afraid of the creaking. And beyond that, if you want to do a passive mob, which they clearly don't want to do, but like if they were to, I would say something that could be really cool here would be some form of like a moss creature. Mm-hmm. For example, maybe you would have a moss cow or a moss chicken. And they can, in fact, drop moss when you shear them. It'd be dumb. It could be interesting or different. Or maybe this is one of the few rare places you might really encounter a brown mushroom in the wild. After all, currently, the only reason you would even know is either lightning hit your cow, your mushrooms, or you looked at the wiki. There's no reason for brown mushrooms to be rare, specifically, other than to be like, well, it's so people who collect them. But they're not really rare, it's just like it's a pain to get them. But you could have it be that finding them here is another thing you could potentially get lucky enough to have here. But I do think the creaking illager would be the best. But like I said, as a passive mob. Or beyond that, you could have, let's see, what else would work for a passive mob here? You could have, maybe all the mobs here are, like if a mob spawns in the Pale Forest, maybe that mob has lighter skin or something. Or glowing orange eyes. And then what they would drop instead of their normal loot is they would drop amber. Just to make things interesting. So say you come across a zombie, like as you're here, you find there's a zombie that spawns. His eyes are orange, right? I mean, maybe you can get the other loot, like the hoe, or if it has one, or a shovel or whatever, but instead, let me see if I can't find, like, this creeper. Let's say this creeper, right? Let's say you defeat the creeper. Using your wits. And it'd have orange eyes, obviously. And be pale. But you would not, like, you would, instead of getting gunpowder like here, you would instead get a bit of resin. So that would be what you would have gotten instead. It'd be 2 resin instead of 2 gunpowder. See what I mean? And it's a nice way to have it be, or if you don't want to deal with the creaking or whatever, you can still have that potential at getting the amber. It's still got something you can kill for it, right? But it's not the creaking, if they don't want you to kill the creaking for whatever reason. And then instead what you kill is the infested critters here. Wouldn't it? Like, and the thing is, the biggest reason why I'm thinking like that is because I'm thinking of the potato update, right? That was just a few months ago, so it should still be kind of in their head, and they had the potato infested critters, right? And I was just thinking they could take that and they could do it with the resin / amber or whatever it is in their body and have it be that's what's in their body instead. Have them slowly be just infest, and like then you can have illagers be like the most likely to be affected, but that would be just an interesting way I think to handle it. Well, I'm just saying, I am thinking around what they've been working on or have worked on at all, right? Slash had in their office to make this place feel more alive. You don't need it to be. Heck, even a Enderman like that guy over there that's dying to the rain stupidly, right? Maybe if you were to spawn in the Pale Forest itself, his eyes again also are orange. The implication being that that it's the amber itself or resin or whatever. But then you make pretty blocks out of. That's what's causing these things to be powered in the way they are. Well, if you think about it, the Creaking Heart's clearly just a big old lump of resin. I mean, in fact, it is. The crafting recipe is basically a pale oak, I believe, and resin. So, yeah. The concept that there be other critters powered by resin here, yeah, isn't the worst thing. A parasite, exactly. But the parasite's the tree. It's controlling the creatures through resin. Right? And I mean, it's not perfect by any means. But it's just a concept that I think could be interesting, could work for just being a... That's the reason why you can have other mobs here, spawn here. And maybe it'd be too much bloat to be like the Pale Garden version of this creature. I just think it'd be neat. From a lore perspective and from... like, not just lore, but also, like, just gameplay as well. Because, like I said, it gives options. It makes you think about what you're doing. You're not outright having to choose to do that, but, well, maybe you do. And as I said, have this be a biome that's always raining. Have the ground just kind of... Heck, you could even have where you just... if you get too close to the trees, like, you could have the moss maybe even start enveloping you or whatever, I don't know. Like, as a good counter for being able to just get unlimited resin, maybe what can happen is that, in any time where you basically with it on the wall, and I mean, this wouldn't be great if you want to use it decorationally, I'll acknowledge that, but you could have it be that when you basically are, let's say you're here and the creaking is in front of you, all that, right? So you're hitting it to get the goods. Maybe you start taking damage because you are in an amber or creaking haze for too long. Kind of like drowning. And it could even have a unique death message, like, player character joined them. No, joined them, with them in italics. There you go. Voila. An entire moveset and everything. And a way to keep you from being able to just torture the thing to no end, you know? Because it cannot move. It's just ideas. It doesn't really matter that much. It's just, yeah. I mean, as I've said, if they want to use these ideas, I would not even notice just because these are all so basic. I think... I mean, I guess maybe the joining them or whatever wasn't be, but... Beyond that, I don't think there's all that much to it. It's like, oh... And most specifically because I just don't care. And I wouldn't even put two together. I've said this before. I would not put 2 and 2 together. It's kind of funny because I was like, this is supposed to be a silent biome, right? And all that. And I was just like, when I saw that, I'm like, man, I've been talking about that, but I've been saying they need that for the end. But the thing is, it's like a biome that's supposed to be fairly silent. Makes sense. Although it's not very silent. It's pretty noisy. Even if I don't have the music on. So it's like they failed there anyway. But, yeah. That's what I say. I mean, I really wouldn't think twice. But yeah. But the thing is, I don't feel like it needs a... And the thing, like here, I don't... Like I said, does not necessarily need unique loot. If you want to make unique loot, make it something basic, simple, boring. Or make it something that is... Not just the wood, by the way. Make it something kind of fantastical that you can only get at night or whatever. Or heck, maybe the item just makes it so you don't get infested. Or whatever it would be called for for a certain duration of time. But you wouldn't want to waste it on, like, grinding. You'd want to use it on... something else. Anyway, but yeah. Those are just... I'm not really sure what else to kind of do. To really kind of throw out there as, like, I'd love to see this or that as well. I mean, I'd love to see a village, I guess. I just don't think that the village would be very, what you would expect. And the biggest thing is I don't think it could go in the Pale Forest itself, which means there would have to actually be a Dark Oak village. Which I'm not sure why they don't do, but, I mean, they could. And it would be interesting. I mean, imagine, much like the mansion, now you have the potential of coming across an actual dark oak forest that uses dark oak and pale oak together to make a very nice looking building. So that, inferring these villagers would go into the pale forest and back. Yeah. Which would be fun, but I mean, it's like beyond just like that kind of thing. I mean, I think... I really do think the biggest issues are just a few garden-like structures and... Which would be the first things that really make something feel gardeny in Minecraft. And... Just fog. Fog, eternal rain. Something. Or hey, what they could do is they could create a new weather type specifically only for the Pale Garden. They're not gonna. It's too much work, I think, for how close the deadline is at this point. I'm guessing. But they could have it be. It's always drizzling. Like slightly lighter than this. Not clear, not this, something in between. And so, yeah. Anyway, what am I playing tomorrow for Halloween? Got any ideas? No, you still here? No. I was just saying what should I do tomorrow for Halloween. Anybody else can join in to choose as well. Alright, oh, they could have the reverse headways where you have to walk across like this. To get the loot. And then walk out. Sure. I was already kind of thinking that anyway. But I didn't want to do that if you didn't want it. If you guys didn't want it. But if you want Halloween House Flipper, I'm good with Halloween House Flipper. Because we can make a house be Halloween themed now. In all sorts of ways. And it can be like, not sponsored, but right now, if you go and buy House Flipper, it is more than 60% off for that and all its DLC. So right now, to buy the whole game and its DLC, from what I could tell, it's cheaper to do that than to buy House Flipper 2 until the 3rd of November. I'm just kind of left with... No, that's fine. That's fair. That's fair. I do get it, as I've had that issue myself. Yeah. But yeah, I am serious, by the way, about the House Flipper thing. I decided to look it up to see what was at the moment, and it was just like, oh, holy cow, that's like the best sale I've ever seen on that game. But ironically, it makes it so that the whole game, just until like the 3rd, but like, it is cheaper and better. Like, how do you do that to yourself? Literally. Because it's like $36 right now for the whole set. All the DLCs and everything. Or something like that. And considering Health Slipper 2 is $40. Yeah. For like 6 times the content. I was just amazed. Yeah. Doop doop doop. This is a great way to practice like a little parkour. Nothing crazy, but just like a little bit, like just. That's some of the best. Yep, that's. Like I said, that's even cheaper than I was thinking it was. So basically $35 for like I said, somewhere between 6 to 8 times the content minimum. And more interesting content too. It blows the mind to realize, wow, they really didn't think this one through. But the real answer is because they want people to own the House Flipper 1, because that'll be that's where you can get the DLC. Because they can't justify. I honestly, actually, I've thought about it. I think that the biggest reason why they haven't done DLC is they can't justify it yet. Because then it just becomes, well, then why didn't you just put it on the first? Like, why didn't you just add it to the base game or whatever? Like, why didn't you just add cats to the game? So instead, you just throw like and they just keep adding it to the first game. Kind of thing. Like, the... You don't think so? I'm just saying, like, if they were to have added the restaurant DLC to the second game, and then it'd be like, well, why didn't you add it to the game? You already had the food and everything. But the first game, it's like, yeah, okay, you didn't have the food, you didn't have the... Fair enough. As adding a bunch of other content as well. Plus, I mean, even now, the second game still has mixed reviews, whereas the first game, it was mixed for a short while, but it's already back up to, like, full-on positive. Or mostly positive, so it's just like... And I think the biggest thing I still find crazy is it's like, because, like, you know, Twitch is, like, specifically trying to push the second one, right? The numbers of everything is for the first game. Yeah, yep, there's no way to justify. If they did, they'd be being as dumb as some of these companies have been, which, I mean, I'm not putting it past them. When you look at, I think it was also a Polish company that made the Travesty, wasn't it? The one Travesty? Like... no, it was Norwegian. Yeah. Same part of the world, though, so it's like, be very, very careful. They need to be very careful. Because people will judge right now. I mean, not by, like, characters, but more like, dialogue. That second game's dialogue, very judgeable. First game's dialogue, not really. It is nice. It's neat. It's so far been just, every update has been just like, it doesn't feel like it's all California. And that's why I think they're gonna have to be super careful that they don't let their second game's issues there, mostly including things like dialogue options and just, don't make me talk to the customer. That's a really crappy customer. Also, make it clear. This is something I do feel like when I'm playing the game. It's like, make it clear what I'm supposed to be thinking here. Like, don't leave me going, wait, is this a guy, a girl, a whatever? Like, that's not fun to be left with in the, just like, huh? I'm not asking a lot, I don't think. Like, I'm not saying, like, I'm just saying, leave things more clear. I'd rather know. Like, it's so weird. You know, I thought of this as well for, like, the second game that bugged me. Relationships. It's like, some of them, I mean, they're straight up, they're clear in the second game, but then it's just like in the, it's like, wait, is this supposed to be gay, straight, what? What am I supposed to be thinking here? And then never answering. So it just basically comes off as like weird. Like, there's nothing wrong with like especially if you're over explaining every character anyway. Doing something like that, just going in enough to be like, oh yeah, this is this or this is that. I don't think it's the end of the world. Somebody who plays the games. Be like, as I'm trying to understand, being like, okay, yeah, so this guy's girlfriend, it's like, oh wait, is it this guy's girlfriend or is it this girl's girlfriend? It's just, it's like, as a streamer, it gets very confusing. Or is this, I don't know. Are they not even related at all? Because remember, like, you were super, like, maybe not you, but, like, several people were very confused. Like, it's like, wait, no. The woman is still with her husband. Like, my sister was like, no, they aren't together. And I'm like, yes, they are. If you talked about, like, specific things, you find out they are together. But because she did different dialogue options, she thought they were divorced. Which made for a very, very interesting idea, like, concept there. But it's like, and so I feel like it's like quality checking. It goes back to the quality checking. It's like, that's the same thing I complain about with Minecraft all the time. I think that the quality was just not checked. Concept that it would leave in there the potential possibility that you're, even though you're not supposed to, clearly not supposed to think that, right? I don't even know why I'm complaining about House Flipper 2 on Minecraft, but like the fact that depending on your dialogue options, you get, you basically will come away with, woman is going to be in trouble with her husband when he finds out. What a jerk, and there will be a divorce too. Or you get, oh no, they've been divorced for years. She is going to be spending the time there with somebody else. And it's like, so is she cheating, or is she? But they just don't go there, right? I mean, I wish I was kidding. Like, literally, I ended up talking to my sister about like the storyline and all that after the time, and she's like, "Oh no, the guy, she's not with her husband." And I'm like, "Yeah, she was." That's who she's supposedly spending the time with, because if you talk to her, that's who she's planning to spend the time with. She's hoping to convince him to stop working his job as a heart surgeon, because she's realized after becoming a yoga instructor that that's just too stressful and da da da. It's just like, well, you're a lovely person, aren't you? But it's things like that that I feel like I hope they don't do with the second game, because it's like, if you leave something like that vague in a game, in the first game where they don't have the phone calls, that you could go through all the dialogue options if you really want to, it basically makes it even more confusing. And no emojis. Like, I think that was the dumbest decision they could have made for the emails. Because again, they're business emails. These people aren't trying to talk to me as a friend. They're trying to talk to me as their contractor. And if they're using emojis, that means they're not taking you seriously, even after you're supposed to be, have super proven yourself and everything. Even the person who's supposedly your best friend, not your, somebody you barely know, your enemy, your rival, super creepy dude, depending on how you look at it, all that together. I mean, again, best friend Tom was not, and then my kitty goo. But that's the kind of thing I'm left with. Like, I'm not complaining about all the. I'm just literally going, look. Let's be real. Buddy. You can enjoy cat time, by the way. Here. Cat is here in my arms. He is very cute. But yeah, I really do think that I hope that they don't go for the whole, like, the emojis and a this and a that, and it's just like, I hope that they go with the whole straight up clean. They are hiring you for a job. They do not know you. You're a vampire, for Pete's sake, that has lived for decades, if not centuries. I've been doing jobs on and off for the whole time, potentially. Cat. But yeah, I mean, that is really where I'm left with. Like, that's the hopes, and that is where I will just push the first game and be like, it's $34, 35, including tax, or whatever. Buy that. At least till the 3rd. Then wait for the next sale, because there will be one, and it will be down that low again, and that game will still be better than the second game. which is kind of pathetic. Especially since the DLC, like the one from just a year and a half ago, is now $5 on the sale. Literally $10 cheaper than it normally is. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, no, they can't justify DLC. They need to make sure their dialogue options are not like super stilted and bad again. And the thing is, so it wasn't the best in the first game, you know? But part of what saved it was the fact that it was professional sounding. Like, they're talking to a professional going, and explaining what they want. Well, I mean, to be fair, the people making it are a Polish team. I'm not, like, knocking them for not speaking English, necessarily, to be able to completely and totally check that. What I am saying is, by making it no longer that casual, or that making that formal setting of, this is your boss talking to you, if you will. Go on, buddy. It makes it very, very, yeah. It makes it so much more obvious that it... Nope, you don't get to do that, cat. Get off the keyboard. He is being a nuisance. I'm going to have to finish up in a second, but yeah, I mean, that's where I feel with it. I'm left with, I hope that they don't, like, go and add more of the cringy dialogue, and yeah. Either way, though, like I said, I'm completely left with, buy the rest of the game, $35. Till the 3rd. Not sponsored at all. I just like the game, and I want people to know that the second game is not the good game. It is the cash grab. That is really weird. Because they definitely did not write the same dialogue. They did not write unique dialogue for the guy and the girl character. So it makes the not friend even creepier than he already is. What? If you're playing as the girl. Which is kind of weird. I honestly am left with, it's like, I feel like they could have done so many things there. But again, I think it's partially because they were not a American team to be like, wait, it might be a little weird. And that's fine. As long as it sticks to professional, it doesn't really... And I mean, I'm sure that I'm sure there's people on the team that do speak English or not. Maybe. Probably... I don't know. I'm not gonna just assume, but you think... I'm not gonna assume the main developers necessarily do, because... Again, Polish. Yeah, he's ready. And I mean, I just hope the jobs are nice again. Or interesting. Not the same boring tasks over and over and over. Pretending to be new or interesting. I mean the second game specifically. Because the first game, every DLC does something different and unique with it. So it's not all the same things. As you know, Snow, because you've seen me play through all of them. Yeah. anyway, as I said, this biome, I think is done enough idea-wise as to what it could be more. Just to add different things. And, again, I don't think that they would do this specifically. It's just literally... Yeah. Thank you. No. Yeah, it's just literally little things that anybody could come up with. Including more gray in the floor, maybe even just scattered a little. More pots around. Again, just to have garden vibes. More garden vibes with the planter. Could be of any material, and hedge maze. Oh, and garden shed that could have a potential for all sorts of items. But nothing crazy, nothing unique, nothing fancy. Other than maybe the potential to find something fancy. But again, it'd be like, oh, you found a whatever. Nothing crazy, though. And I honestly don't think they have to add new loot, because the new items are good enough. It's just garden-y features. Right. But make it a garden. And yeah. And I still go with it's just because otherwise you can add a flower. You can add if it's like if you want it to be a garden, you do garden. Hello, Pyrrha the Slime Demon Lord. How you doing? I'm just about to finish, but thank you for the follow. I hope you're doing well. Yeah. These are my... I'm glad to hear you're doing okay. As you can see, these are my ideas of things I feel like they could add kind of to the game. Make the biome feel a little bit more complete. Although this would be more gray. I don't know how to make the biome or the fog more gray. Fair enough. Fair enough. You just popped onto the end of mine. And that is how it usually goes. Which is good. Also, thank you for the first time chat. But yeah. What do you think? I guess. Don't you think a hedge maze and a garden shed are two things that really help this sell as a garden? Or I guess a planter. Hi. Mostly went with them because they have variations of these kinds of buildings, and the potato update literally had hedge maze. Alrighty. Alrighty. You want to help me, cat? Yeah, I think. Oh, you don't have to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Oh, that's fine. I mean, I did spin. Go to Kitty. Because he's upset. He's annoyed at me. Hello, cat. Alrighty. What are you talking about? Fair enough if you want to make... This is just like a health. Anyway, but yeah, like I said, I like the idea of having something like this. Or this. Super confused half a second. And heck, we can even make this even better by, again, throwing in just a few of these to go boop. Did this before on the other one. I forgot to add these. Ta-da! Yeah, you don't want to be with me. Yeah. But so like, I just wanted to kind of like do things I felt like would make some sense. Nothing crazy, nothing super out there. Actually, wait, that would still be like that. Because personally, I think that, yeah, as I've said, I like the idea of the designs they do and all that. Rather, I just feel like they're missing stuff like this. Like, the flower's okay. This block is okay. Fair enough. I mean, I'm sure you could. My cat's throwing a fit, and I don't care. He can throw his fit. He's not getting his way. But I mean, yeah. I basically, like I said, it literally was just like adding things I think to show what I really do think in the... I mean, something like this isn't terribly hard. Like, I'm literally in creative just designing things. So you can go, just design something cool. Scream at the game as it's like, come on, let me do this or that. Also, my cat's trying to turn off the computer. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. No. No. See, like, nothing here is, like... I literally just added a bunch of fog effects. And went to town building. Easy. I realized that creakings are delinquents that don't stay where they should. Because they don't. Yeah, I mean, this is literally just Bedrock. Or preview. Do, 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 do. Anyway, but it's as I said, it's a lot of fun to kind of come up with different things I think would make sense. So, and it's not scary because instead it's thinking. Anyway, that's what I was doing. Anyway. As I said, though, I really do... Hello, Suckman. I'm good. I'm going to finish up in a second because my cat wants me to. But like I said, I just did the things I thought that... I flipped over to the Bedrock version to kind of actually be able to add the things I really wanted to see, which is like this fog effect. It's not perfect. I wish I had the ability to... I could figure out which one's the one for the water. Because then that would just look amazing. Kind of cloudy. But I can't figure that one out, so... Oh well, we have... all this instead. And a head trace. And a garden shed. And a random tree somewhere. And that. There's some more things I built in the other one. It just... I wanted to kind of like really see if I could vibe. Or figure out the vibe a little bit better. And I think I did. Although, again, it would be a little bit grayer than this. But the idea of it kind of just becoming super dark into the Alrighty, I hope you have a good evening. I do need to finish myself, as I said, because my cat's going insane. Alright, yeah. Anyway, what do you think, Sockman? Do you think, other than maybe a little bit less purple, I got the vibe of kind of the... Bye-bye. Of like the way that the fog should work here? No. But yeah, you can see my cat's going nuts. He's... I do know. The way he has to behave. Fair enough. I was just saying for like a spooky, scary-ish biome, if they want to do that, that was it. That was the vibes I went with, because that's what they said it was. So I literally took nether fog and layered it a bit. Stop. Stop. No. No. Fair enough. Fair enough. Anyway, I mean, the biggest thing was it wasn't supposed to be something that, like, was super crazy, because it's something that I wanted to still focus on being something that maybe they could do. And definitely something that if they did do, we would not think that it would be, oh, they saw our VODs, because it wouldn't. I guarantee they wouldn't. Yes. I mean, it actually is pretty cool. It is odd that the hanging moss is not able to be climbed like a vine. It's just there for aesthetic purposes. And it's supposed to block your view, but it's honestly a lot easier to see through than, like, other things that they use, like vines. Anyway, Cat's been having his own issues lately. And we're trying to curb them, but he doesn't like that. Because he doesn't want that. But he doesn't get to have that. Because if he doesn't, then he... Anyway. Yeah. But we'll get there. We will get there. Anyway, I am actually going to finish up. I know I've said it like 3 times already, but now I am going to finish real. Unless I get like somebody new again, or not new, but somebody else again. I'll give it like 5 seconds to see if anyone else goes, hello. But if they don't, I'm going to finish. Yeah. Something like that. Anyway. Yeah, I see. I mean, that's... Anyway, it's been a pleasure having you. I hope to see you again tomorrow for some House Flipper. For some Halloween House Flipper, as it'll be Halloween. I hope you have a wonderful day / night / whatever it is for you. And if it is night for you, I hope you have a wonderful night's sleep, cat. No, you don't. Down. Down. Sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, so thank you for popping in. Thank you for sticking around. And I do hope you have a good evening if it's an evening, if it's a good day. And a good day if it's day. But, yeah. Bye-bye.